You could be sleeping beside a woman who has already left you emotionally, and you wouldn't even know it. She still kisses you goodnight. She still cooks dinner. She still posts couple photos. But her soul, her passion, her loyalty, they're long gone. She's not confused. She's not overwhelmed. She's done. Quietly, intentionally, without saying a word. And the cruelest part, she wants you to figure it out so she can escape without guilt. Comment, I choose clarity if you've ever felt something was off, but couldn't explain why. Now listen carefully. This will be the most valuable 40 minutes you've spent this year, because after this, you'll never be the same man again. Number 1. She's too busy for you. She says she's busy. She says she has too much going on. She says she's overwhelmed with work, drained from life, tired of everything. But what she never says is the truth. She just no longer chooses you. You used to be the highlight of her day. Now you're just another task to check off. It starts subtle. Cancelled plans, unread texts, half-hearted kisses. You think she's going through a phase. You tell yourself she just needs rest. But deep down, something doesn't feel right. And the truth is, it isn't. Because people make time for what they value, and when she no longer makes time for you, it's not a scheduling problem. It's a heart problem. You become a background character in your own relationship. She's present, but not with you. Her eyes look at you, but they don't see you. Her hands touch you, but they don't feel you. And you keep justifying it because you don't want to face what that busy really means. Busy is her shield. Busy is the polite version of emotional withdrawal. Busy is her rehearsed excuse to disconnect without guilt. You start picking up the slack, planning every date, checking in every day, carrying all the weight. And she lets you, because your willingness to overfunction makes it easier for her to underfunction. You chase, she retreats. You adapt, she ignores. You apologize, she criticizes. You hold on tighter, and she slips further away. And the more you give, the less she respects it. Because availability without standards breeds indifference. You're always there, so she never has to wonder if you're gone. But what happens when you stop playing the role of her emotional crutch? What happens when you stop filling in the silence, stop reminding her of your love, stop trying to rescue what she already walked away from? You finally break the pattern. You stop being her emotional punching bag and start being your own rescue. That's the shift. The shift from begging for scraps to reclaiming your value. You stop texting first. You stop rearranging your schedule to accommodate hers. You stop prioritizing someone who treats you like an option. And the moment you do, everything changes. Because people don't change when you talk. They change when you walk. You walk into your life, into the version of you that stops living for her validation. You get up early. You build discipline. You stop asking where she is and start asking where you're going. You stop trying to get her attention and start building a life that makes you proud to be alone in it. You go to the gym not to impress her, but to impress the man in the mirror who stopped being a slave to someone else's approval. You build a business, even if it starts with one product or one service or 1 hour a day. You write down your goals, not because she's watching, but because you're finally watching yourself. And you stop arguing, stop explaining, stop overcompensating. You let her be busy. Let her have the space. Let her wander. Let her chase whatever shiny new thing she thinks will fill the emptiness she blames on you. Because when you stop being available for her excuses, she starts facing the consequences of her absence. That's when her busy becomes her regret. But by then, you won't care, because you'll be too focused on your mission, too invested in your peace, too in love with your future to reopen the door she walked out of. You'll look back and realize that her emotional distance was your wake-up call, that the relationship falling apart was actually your life coming together, that the time you spent waiting for her was the time you were supposed to be finding you. And in that moment, you'll thank the version of you that finally decided to stop proving your worth to someone who already made up their mind. You'll look around at the world you built, the goals you crushed, the strength you gained, and you'll realize she was never too busy. She just stopped being worthy of the space you gave her. And you finally became the man who no longer begs for time. You became the man who owns his. So the next time someone says they're too busy, you smile, because you're not. You're focused. And that's not the same thing. And you finally became the man who no longer begs for time. You became the man who owns his. And now, if you're ready to take that power even deeper, there's something waiting for you in the comments that will change everything. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint, a timeless guide built for men who are done tolerating confusion, done being second-guessed, and ready to live with calm, unwavering clarity. This isn't just a book, it's a weapon for your mind, a code for your soul, built on principles that have endured for centuries and now packaged in a way that fits your life right now. And now it's available as an audiobook. That means you can walk, jog, drive, or sit in silence and absorb these life-changing truths wherever you are. No more waiting, no more wondering. And the best part? Once you have it, it's yours forever. This knowledge doesn't expire, it doesn't fade, it becomes part of you. So ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to live at the mercy of someone else's mood? Or do you finally take ownership of your own? The blueprint is waiting in the comments. Click it, own it, and become the man who never needs to ask for time, because he already commands it. Number 2, she wants space. When she says, "I need space," your gut twists, because you already know what that space is for. It's not clarity, it's not growth, it's not healing, it's freedom. Freedom to explore options while keeping you on hold. Freedom to distance herself emotionally while keeping your loyalty intact. It sounds gentle, almost noble, like she's on a soul-searching mission. But it's not. It's a slow exit wrapped in spiritual language. She says she needs time to find herself, but she's already texting someone new. She says she's overwhelmed, but her energy for others hasn't changed. The only thing she wants space from is you. And you sit there, confused. You want to support her, you want to be understanding, you want to believe her reasons. But what you don't see is that this space is a test, not a test of your love, but a test of your blindness. She wants to know if you'll stay loyal while she checks out, if you'll keep investing while she divests, if you'll wait while she wanders. And if you say yes, if you agree to wait, to pause your needs, your plans, your standards, she wins. Not because she's evil, but because she knows now she can have both. She can pull away without consequence. She can detach while you stay glued. And so you sit, paralyzed, wondering what to say, what to do. Should you wait? Should you fight for her? Should you prove your worth? No, you don't chase someone who says they need space. You give it to them, fully, without hesitation, without warning, without follow-up. You don't check in. You don't ask how she's doing. You don't remind her of what you shared. You give her so much space that she starts to feel the weight of your absence, because the person who truly values you won't risk losing you, and the one who does was never yours to begin with. But let's talk about what happens next. Most people will tell you to sit still, to focus on yourself, to move on. That's good advice. But let's go deeper. Because the real transformation begins when you stop defining your identity by whether she comes back. You take that heartbreak, that rejection, that confusion, and you convert it into structure, into direction, into meaning. You build a life that no longer depends on her presence to feel valuable. You write down your vision, not just dreams, but action steps. You build your discipline, not just motivation, but systems. You create a routine that replaces longing with progress, and then something strange happens. You stop waiting, not just for her, but for anything outside of you to validate your path. You stop checking your phone, you stop replaying memories, you stop holding your breath. You start breathing for yourself. That's the power of detachment. That's real strength. Not in becoming heartless, but in becoming so grounded in your path that no one's departure can derail it. And when she finally texts back, when she misses you, when she realizes the space she wanted feels like abandonment, when it's not filled by your effort, you won't rush back. Not out of spite, but out of wisdom. Because now you see clearly. Her space wasn't about you. It was about her needing a way out without guilt. Her needing your loyalty without your presence. Her needing emotional security while she explored emotional infidelity. And now you have a choice. To be the man who accepts half love out of desperation, or the man who reclaims his full value through discipline, action, and resolve. You want to apply this? Start today. Wake up 1 hour earlier. Move your body with intent. Write down your goals with deadlines. Reach out to mentors. Create something of your own. Take one step toward your financial freedom. Read 10 pages of something that challenges you. And every time you feel the urge to check her status, check your status. What are you building? What are you mastering? What are you avoiding? Because you are the author now, not her, not your emotions, not your pain. And when you fully step into that authorship, you'll realize the space she asked for was never your loss. It was your liberation. It was the moment the chains fell off, the moment you stopped being the caretaker of someone else's indecision, the moment you started choosing yourself. And in that clarity, you become unstoppable. Because no one can hold you hostage with distance when you've built your entire life on presence, your own. Number 3, she doesn't miss you. She doesn't check your messages first thing in the morning anymore, doesn't rush to answer your calls, doesn't ask how your day was or whether you made it home safely, not because she forgot, but because she no longer feels the need to know. Because what used to feel like a connection now feels like a responsibility to her, like an obligation she quietly resents. And instead of telling you that she's no longer emotionally there, she plays along just enough to keep the illusion alive while you sit there wondering what you did wrong, thinking maybe you were too busy lately or too quiet or too distracted. When the truth is, she already made the emotional exit long before you started noticing the signs. And what hurts the most isn't the lack of texts or smiles or warmth. It's realizing that her soul no longer leaps when she sees your name pop up on her screen. Her heart doesn't beat differently when she hears your voice. And you can feel that, not because you're insecure, but because your instincts have always been right. And yet you gaslight yourself into thinking maybe you're just being needy or paranoid, when deep down you know what's happening. You know that you're being phased out silently, emotionally, piece by piece, and you still hold on because the pain of admitting it feels heavier than pretending everything's fine. But here's the truth. No one forgets to miss someone they truly care about. No one goes days without thinking about someone they're still emotionally invested in. And when you stop feeling like a priority and start feeling like an afterthought, it's not a glitch, it's a signal. And that signal tells you everything you need to know, because emotional presence is not silent. It shows up in little things. Remembering your favorite song, asking how that project went, noticing when something's off in your voice, and when those things vanish. It's not subtle, it's soul-crushing. And the longer you stay in that space where you give everything and receive nothing, the more your self-worth corrodes, the more you start to question whether you're even deserving of the kind of love you crave. But let me tell you, you are, not because someone says so, but because the absence of reciprocity isn't your fault. It's a reflection of someone who stopped showing up long ago while expecting you to stay consistent. And this is where the transformation begins, not in getting her to miss you again, but in realizing that you've been missing yourself, missing your purpose, missing your standards, because you've allowed emotional breadcrumbs to keep you hungry while she eats full meals elsewhere. And that ends now, not because you finally got tired, but because you finally woke up to the fact that being ignored by someone you love feels worse than being hated by someone you don't. And the only way to reclaim your sanity is to start building a life that doesn't depend on her emotional engagement. You turn inward, not to dwell but to develop. You write out your principles, not based on pain but based on clarity. You train not for revenge but for redemption. You don't try to win her attention. You win back your soul, your focus, your discipline. Because at the end of the day, if she doesn't miss you now, let her miss the new version of you that no longer waits, no longer begs, no longer needs validation from someone who failed to see your worth the first time. And that man, that evolved, focused, emotionally present man, is who she'll remember long after you're gone, not because you tried to stay, but because you finally chose to leave. Number 4, you deserve better. She looks you in the eyes with a straight face and says the words that shatter your soul while pretending they're supposed to heal it. You deserve better. And for a second, you pause, caught between hope and heartbreak, wondering if this is her way of protecting you, or if it's just the most convenient excuse to exit without accountability. And the longer you sit in that confusion, the clearer it becomes. This isn't compassion, this is closure with a ribbon on top. A way to put the blame on the illusion that she's not good enough, when in reality she just doesn't want you anymore and would rather spin it like she's doing you a favor. As if watching someone you poured your energy, time and loyalty into slowly detach and disguise it, as kindness is anything but cruel. And while you're there, analyzing the phrase, playing it back in your head, trying to decode the hidden meaning behind those words, the truth is much simpler and much colder. When someone truly believes you deserve better, they do better. They show up, they grow, they communicate, they fight to stay. But when someone says it instead, it's not a gesture of love. It's a strategy to shift the emotional labor onto you, to make you feel like the decision to walk away was mutual, when in reality, she made that decision long ago and is just now handing you the script to read out loud so she can walk away without guilt. And what's worse is you probably believe her. You probably start thinking maybe it really is your fault, that you expected too much, asked for too much, weren't supportive enough, weren't stable enough, weren't man enough. And that's exactly the trap, because the moment you internalize that phrase as a reflection of your worth instead of her avoidance, you start shrinking, second-guessing, self-sabotaging, and settling, all because someone handed you rejection dressed up as wisdom. And the only way out of that loop is to understand that you deserve better isn't a compliment, it's a confession. She's not capable of giving what you need, not willing to put in the effort, not invested enough to do the uncomfortable work that love demands. And instead of admitting her emotional laziness, she reframes the breakup as a gift to you, hoping you'll walk away quietly, maybe even thanking her for letting you go. But deep down you know better. You feel it in your chest, in your silence, in your exhaustion, that the only mistake you made was believing that effort, loyalty and presence would be enough for someone who had already made up her mind. And that's when the shift happens, when you finally stop seeking closure and start building clarity, when you stop arguing with the story she gave you and start writing your own. And that story starts with a decision, not to hate her, not to prove her wrong, but to rebuild from the rubble with zero apologies and full responsibility, because no one is coming to save you, no one is going to explain why things didn't work, no one is going to validate your pain, and once you accept that, you become dangerous, not reckless, not bitter, but focused, strategic, disciplined, and awake. You start choosing partners who don't hand out vague reasons but offer real actions. You stop chasing potential and start measuring patterns, and more than anything, you stop letting someone's inability to love you the way you need define the way you see yourself, because you do deserve better, but not from her, from yourself, from the version of you that finally realized he was always worthy, just surrounded by someone too selfish to recognize it. And once you step into that reality, everything changes. Your circle, your habits, your mindset, your standards, and suddenly you deserve better isn't a rejection. It's a redirection to a life where you no longer beg, no longer chase, and no longer wait for someone else to wake up to what you've known all along, that the man who sees his own worth can never be discarded, only discovered. Number 5. She keeps secrets. It starts quietly, not with a lie, but with withheld truth, not with betrayal, but with subtle omissions that feel too small to fight over, yet too strange to ignore, because one day her phone is always in her hand, then suddenly it's always face down. Her password changes and she doesn't offer to share it anymore. Not that you asked, but the shift in openness feels like a door closing somewhere deep inside the relationship. And when you ask where she was, she gives answers that are technically true, but emotionally empty, like just out or just busy, and you start noticing how she avoids follow-up questions or redirects the conversation. And at first, you don't want to seem insecure, so you let it slide. But your gut keeps whispering that something isn't right. And the deeper you look, the more patterns you notice. How she suddenly has late-night work projects, how she takes her calls in another room, how her friends' names are now always the excuse, but the energy she used to have when she spoke about them is missing, and you want to believe her, because confronting the possibility that she's hiding something means confronting the truth that maybe she's no longer fully yours, but pretending not to see doesn't protect you, it only prolongs the slow collapse of trust. And the worst part is not the secrets themselves. It's what the secrets say about how she sees you, because when someone begins to hide, what they're really doing is making decisions about your relationship in private, while expecting you to keep showing up in public. And that disconnect is emotional treason, the kind that leaves you showing up fully to something that's already being dismantled behind your back. And this is where most men break, caught between loving who she was and fearing who she's becoming, between wanting to fight for the relationship and realizing the fight has become one-sided. And in that chaos, you either lose yourself trying to get the truth, or you reclaim yourself by letting go of the need for answers. Because the truth is simple. When someone starts hiding, they're choosing their options over your honesty. They're choosing freedom over loyalty. And whether it's emotional infidelity or full-on betrayal, the second someone feels the need to keep secrets from the person they once called their best friend, the bond is no longer built on trust. It's built on control, manipulation, and the hope that you stay too loyal to question it. But the moment you step back and stop playing detective, the moment you stop chasing explanations and start investing that energy into yourself, into your health, into your goals, into your vision, you take away the one thing that secrecy thrives on, your ignorance. Because the second you become informed, awake, unafraid to walk away, the secrets lose their power. And what remains is either transparency or distance, and both are better than deception. So stop asking who she's texting. Stop wondering where she's been. Stop losing sleep over someone who has already decided that your loyalty is something to use, not honor. And instead, ask yourself, where in my life have I stopped being honest with myself? Where have I allowed lowered standards in the name of love? And when you answer that with full ownership, that's when you rise, not as a victim of her secrecy, but as a creator of your new reality. Number 6, she plays the victim. It doesn't begin with tears, it begins with silence. the kind that replaces accountability with emotional manipulation. And before you even realize it, you're not dealing with honesty anymore. You're dealing with a performance, a carefully curated version of reality where she casts herself as the misunderstood one, the overworked one, the emotionally neglected partner who just couldn't take it anymore. And suddenly, all your valid questions become attacks. All your feelings become pressure. All your attempts to reconnect become reminders of how overwhelmed she is. And in that upside-down world, you become the aggressor for noticing the distance, the bad guy for wanting consistency, the selfish one for not letting her breathe. And what makes it worse is you don't see it coming because the performance is so well practiced, so emotionally charged, that part of you starts to wonder if maybe she's right. Maybe you did miss something. Maybe you weren't affectionate enough or attentive enough or supportive enough. And that's the trap. Because once you start apologizing for her detachment, once you start fixing problems she created, you've officially been converted from a partner into an emotional punching bag, the person she leans on when convenient and blames when confronted. And the game becomes psychological, not physical, because the bruises aren't on your body. They're on your sense of clarity, your confidence, your peace. And every time you try to bring something up, it turns into an emotional chess match where her pain always trumps your truth, where her crying ends the conversation, where her silence becomes punishment for speaking up, and eventually you stop trying. Not because you've healed, but because you've been trained to avoid conflict, trained to walk on eggshells, trained to stay quiet just to keep the peace that only exists when you pretend nothing's wrong. And the longer you live in that loop, the more you become a shell of who you used to be, a version of yourself that keeps the relationship alive at the cost of your own soul. And the only way out of that psychological cage is to stop playing the game altogether, to stop responding to her tears with guilt, to stop rewarding her avoidance with comfort, to stop explaining yourself to someone who already decided that your pain is less valid than her narrative. Because people who play the victim rarely change unless they lose the audience. And the second you take your energy back, the second you stop reacting, stop arguing, stop validating her dramatics with your attention, she has no choice but to either rise to truth or retreat into the story alone. And that's your power, not in changing her, but in refusing to be controlled by emotional blackmail, in reclaiming your ability to say, no, I'm not wrong for wanting honesty. No, I won't feel bad for having boundaries. No, I won't take responsibility for your silence, your distance, your betrayal. And when you stand firm in that clarity, something inside you shifts, not with rage, but with peace, because now you see it for what it is, a strategy, not a story, a deflection, not a breakdown. And once you detach from needing her to see your side, once you stop playing the role she wrote for you, you finally get to write your own role, not as the man who always forgives, but as the man who no longer entertains anything that makes him feel small, just to keep someone else comfortable. And from that moment forward, you live differently, not colder, but sharper, not unkind, but unavailable to emotional manipulation, dressed up as love. Number 7, she becomes defensive. At first, it seems like you're just asking a simple question. Where were you? Who were you with? Why didn't you reply? But her tone shifts, not because you're accusing her, but because she knows deep down that if she gives you space to dig, you'll find something she doesn't want you to see. So she flips the script before you can get a word in, says you're being paranoid, says you're insecure, says she can't breathe with all these questions. And suddenly the conversation isn't about her behavior, it's about your trust issues. And just like that, you're no longer the person seeking clarity, you're the person on trial. And this is where the emotional gymnastics begin, where she builds a wall out of words and a moat out of emotions so wide that any attempt you make to cross it becomes proof that you're the problem. And it's subtle at first. Eye rolls, sarcasm, condescending sighs. But soon it escalates to full-on projection, where your concern becomes control, your curiosity becomes aggression, your honesty becomes an attack, and in this twisted game, she plays the victim, the judge, and the executioner. And you're left defending yourself against accusations you never made, feeling like a villain in a story where all you ever wanted was to be told the truth. And what's worse is the self-doubt starts to creep in. You begin to wonder if maybe you are overreacting, maybe your standards are too high, maybe love really is just accepting the parts of someone you don't understand. And so you let it go, but not because you're okay with it, because you're tired. Tired of feeling like everything you say turns into a debate. Tired of fighting for a connection that only works when you ignore the cracks. Tired of being made to feel guilty for wanting honesty. And that's when the most dangerous shift happens. You stop speaking up, not because things got better, but because you got used to swallowing your truth. And in that silence, the relationship starts to rot from the inside out, because defensiveness doesn't happen when someone is misunderstood. It happens when someone has something to hide, something they're not ready to admit, not because they're protecting you, but because they're protecting the version of themselves they still want you to believe in. And if you keep ignoring the signs, if you keep accepting deflection as communication, you'll slowly lose yourself. Trying to keep peace with someone who uses every question as a mirror they don't want to look into. And the only way to break free from that cycle is to stop walking on eggshells and start standing on principles. To stop adjusting your tone and start asserting your truth. To stop proving your intentions and start protecting your energy, because a person who turns every conversation into a confrontation isn't misunderstood. They're avoiding responsibility. And your silence won't fix that. Your patience won't fix that. Your love won't fix that. Because love without respect turns into duty, and duty without truth turns into a trap. And if you want to escape, you don't need her to see your point. You need to see your worth. You need to recognize that you're not hard to love. Not too much, not impossible, but that you've been loving someone who's been allergic to accountability. Someone who confuses truth with threats and feedback with insults. And once you understand that, you'll stop arguing, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom, because there's no peace in a place where every question is a battle, no growth in a place where every concern is a crime, and no future in a relationship where defense is louder than dialogue. And the day you stop being afraid to walk away from someone who sees honesty as an attack is the day you finally start walking towards someone, yourself, who sees it as love. Number 8. She plans alone. It starts with subtle shifts in language. You go from we to I, from shared goals to individual dreams, from mutual decisions to private pursuits, and before you can even understand what's happening, you've been removed from the equation of a future you thought you were building together. She no longer includes you in conversations about what's next. She stops mentioning long-term plans with your name in them, and the silence isn't loud, it's strategic. It's quiet enough to dismiss, but constant enough to feel, like when she talks about moving cities for a new job without ever asking how that would affect you, or when she tells her friends she's thinking about taking a solo trip that you heard about for the first time over dinner like everyone else did. And at first you convince yourself it's no big deal, that she's just independent, that she's just exploring herself. But then you realize independence doesn't mean isolation, and what she's doing isn't growing. It's withdrawing, piece by piece, plan by plan, until you become just a side character in a movie that was supposed to be written together. And it hits hardest when you try to bring it up, when you ask where you fit into the picture, and she tells you not everything needs to be about you. Or worse, she tells you she doesn't know yet, and that word, yet, it lingers like a placeholder, a soft rejection dressed as uncertainty, because she doesn't want to say what she's really thinking, that she's already envisioned a future that doesn't include you, and what you're feeling isn't insecurity. It's the early stages of being phased out, of being reduced from partner to convenience, from core to option. And while she's making vision boards and career moves, you're still holding space for a relationship that's being dismantled without your knowledge. And this is where the most painful part kicks in. You still love her, still want to build with her, still believe in what you had, and that belief becomes the very thing that blinds you, that traps you, that convinces you to keep giving to something that's already been emotionally foreclosed. And she'll let you do it too, because it's easier to drift when the other person is still anchoring the ship. Easier to plan alone when someone else is still showing up like they matter, and you do matter, but not to her, not in the way you used to. And that's the truth that hurts the most. Not that she stopped loving you, but that she's using your loyalty as emotional background noise while she tests the volume of her own independence. And you have two choices now. You can either shrink to fit the role she's written for you, a quiet bystander in her personal evolution, or you can step out of the script entirely and start writing a future where you're the lead, a future that doesn't ask for permission, doesn't wait for inclusion, doesn't rely on being chosen to have purpose. And that begins with radical clarity, with understanding that anyone who truly wants to build a life with you will never make you feel like a guest in their dreams. They will align, not avoid, invite, not exclude. And when that alignment disappears, your energy must too, not out of bitterness, but out of understanding. Because there is no peace in planning with someone who's already planning their exit. No strength in hoping for inclusion in a life you weren't even consulted about. And when you finally stop begging to be part of her future and start designing your own, that's when you reclaim your place. Not beside someone who keeps you around out of comfort, but as someone who creates so much meaning that anyone who doesn't see it is automatically left behind. Not because you walked away angry, but because you walked forward with purpose, with power, with the unshakable resolve that your time, your mind, and your plans are too valuable to be negotiated by anyone who treats you like a temporary convenience in their permanent plans. Number 9. Let's take a break. She says the words casually, like it's no big deal, like this pause is just a little breathing room, a reset button, a temporary distance to figure things out. But deep down, you feel the weight of it hit like a punch in the chest, because you know this isn't about clarity, it's about closure dressed in denial. This isn't about finding peace, it's about finding someone new without guilt. It's a soft launch into a life where you're no longer required, no longer central, no longer necessary. And when she says, "Let's take a break," she's not confused, she's calculated, because that phrase is her permission slip to check out emotionally while keeping the lights on just in case she wants to come back. And you, still in love, still holding on, still believing in what you had, agree, because you don't want to seem controlling. You don't want to be the one who makes it worse. You want to give her time, space, grace. But what you don't see is that the moment you agree to that break, you agree to uncertainty. You agree to being on hold while she explores. You agree to becoming a placeholder while she lives single without calling it cheating. And the narrative becomes so warped that you start to believe it too. You start to think, maybe you did need time apart. Maybe this is healthy. Maybe love really does need a pause to breathe. But here's the truth. Real love doesn't need distance to thrive. It needs presence, discipline, commitment, and anyone who walks away from you to figure things out is already halfway out the door emotionally. And most of the time, she's not taking time to think. She's taking time to try, to test, to taste another life, another man, another version of herself that doesn't involve you. And when she realizes that new doesn't always mean better, she might come back. But by then, you're not getting a woman who missed you. You're getting a woman who ran out of options. And the only way to prevent becoming her emotional safety net is to shut that door the moment she asks to take a break. Not with anger, not with drama, but with decisiveness. You tell her, I don't do breaks, I do boundaries. You let her go fully, not halfway. You stop checking her updates, stop asking how she feels, stop sending those little reminders that you're still there. Because the longer you wait in that emotional limbo, the more you erode your self-respect, the more you convince yourself that love means waiting for someone who walked away. And every second you spend in that waiting room of maybe is a second you could have spent building your clarity, your confidence, your life. And yes, it hurts. It hurts to let go of someone you thought was your forever. Hurts to admit that the person you gave everything to now wants space instead of your presence. But that pain is the price of awakening, and the moment you embrace it fully without trying to numb it, without trying to distract from it, you start transforming. You wake up earlier, train harder, focus deeper, create stronger, and every day you feel a little more of your power return because you're not checking in, not chasing closure, not hoping for a reunion. You're building a version of you so solid, so grounded, so full of life that the idea of being put on pause by anyone becomes laughable. And when she finally calls, when she finally texts, when she finally says she misses you, it won't matter, not because you hate her, not because you're bitter, but because you've become the man who no longer waits to be chosen, the man who no longer accepts love that requires distance to survive, the man who finally understands that the words, "let's take a break," are not an invitation to heal together. They're a declaration that one person has already checked out, and the other just hasn't accepted it yet. And the moment you stop being that second person, the moment you choose yourself without negotiation, is the moment your life stops being a holding pattern and becomes a masterpiece of your own design. And that future, the one you create without her, is the real relationship you've been waiting for all along. If you've made it this far, it means some part of you already knows the truth, and now it's time to act on it. Society doesn't want you to have this knowledge. They want you confused, compliant, and emotionally trapped. But the Stoic relationship blueprint isn't just a book. It's your escape route. It's filled with timeless Stoic principles that will rebuild your mind, your confidence, and your future from the ground up. And now it's available in audiobook form, so you can listen to it while walking, jogging, driving, building the man you were meant to be. This is the information they don't want in your hands, but it's in the comments now. Don't let it sit there. Take action today. If you're ready, comment, "I reclaim my power," like the video, and subscribe to help more men wake up before it's too late.